Greetings and good grief friends. It's Kat, your good grief doula, here with a meditation that is helpful for identifying, acknowledging, being curious about emotions, but not becoming identified with them. So I learned this practice from Diana Winston at UCLA Mark Center for mindful research. And it's exquisite in its ability to tease out what emotion is being felt and integrating it into the moment. With grief, there can be so much anxiety. There can be anticipation of how things will feel, or regret about how things went down. And so this meditation really asks you to practice the art of being in the present moment. And this really is a practice. It may not come naturally because we've been conditioned otherwise. It may be challenging because of the emotions that we're feeling and the enormity of them in the moment. So really, this is an invitation to try something out, to see if it makes things even just 1% easier for you, and to really engage in how you're feeling in the present moment as a tool for well-being. So this is an inside-out practice. It requires looking within and having an awareness of how this might be manifesting outside of us. And it's helpful to think of rain as an exercise relative to the weather. We know that sometimes storm clouds enter our day. There's a downpour. Perhaps there's a rainbow. There can be so many iterations of weather, but it is always changing. This imagery correlates with our interior experience, where our mind is like a wide open sky, and our emotions are clouds, are clusters of clouds passing through. And so RAIN, which is an acronym for recognize, allow, investigate, not identify with or nurture, is a tool to look at those clouds, that changing weather of the mind, and integrate the experience. So I'll talk a little bit about the acronym and then lead you on a guided process. So R in RAIN stands for recognize. This is the first step where we disrupt the flow of thought and notice or recognize that there is an emotion present. Part of that recognition can include naming that emotion. If perhaps there are multiple emotions going on, just selecting one at a time and allowing for that emotion to be in the forefront, named, acknowledged, noticed. The next step, A, is for allow. And this is the most challenging. So often we are quick to judge our emotions, to refute them, to feel shame, to stifle them or repress them. I shouldn't be feeling that. That's not right. But there is no right or wrong way of feeling. So A, allow, means to silence those voices, that judgment, to see what happens if I surrender to that emotion in the moment fully. Allow it to be present. Feel it. The next step, can deepen this practice. Investigate means to approach that emotion with curiosity and ask, where am I feeling this in my body? What does this emotion feel like? You may sense some of that resistance again and remind yourself to allow and investigate. See via a scan of your whole body from your feet to your toes, up to your nose. Where is this emotion taking shape in your body? Where are you gripping, clenching, feeling different sensations throughout your body and naming those? This is allowing the emotion to pass through your bones, to be felt from a grounded place. And not identify with or nurture brings us to the end of the acronym. This is where we find ease and kindness for the self. By not identifying with the emotion, we acknowledge that yes, we are feeling it now. But that does not mean that we are that emotion. We may have blank. We are not blank. This self-compassion is a means of nurturing the self by choosing to say, it's okay. This is here now. But just like the weather, this too will pass through. All right, so recognize, allow, investigate, not identify with or nurture, is a tool for interrupting the flow of thought, feeling, being present with emotions, allowing them to pass through and letting them go. And so with this, I invite you to feel grounded wherever you are. Having an awareness of where your body meets the floor or the seat, a cushion, whatever you're on in the moment. You are grounded here, and you are ready to practice rain. Now I'd like you to begin by selecting an emotion, perhaps something that is present for you now that isn't the most extreme emotion that you're feeling. Let's begin our practice, which is ongoing and ever evolving, by selecting something perhaps a little simpler or more superficial, and working our way up to the deep cut emotions that perhaps are a bit more challenging. So once you have an awareness of an emotion or a feeling that is present for you, I invite you to name it. Recognize its presence. Call it forth and give it a name. Anger, envy, jealousy, sadness, anxiety, there are so many colors and tones these emotions can take. So I invite you to get specific. What is arising for you now? What can you recognize in your field of thought? Now that you've recognized that emotion, I invite you to allow. What happens when you remove judgment, shoulds, coulds? What happens when you surrender and allow that emotion unbridled? This naturally leads to I investigate. Where is that emotion taking hold in your body? What does it feel like to feel? Scanning the body, making note of any tension, any sensations, and acknowledging where there is numbness, where there is no sensation. This is information too. From this space of recognizing, allowing, investigating in the body, now make the choice to nurture, to not identify with this emotion. Yes, it is present here. Yes, you are feeling this now. Will it be here forever? No. Perhaps put a hand on your heart and a hand on anywhere in the body where this emotion is causing tension, pain, heat, etc. for you. From this supportive gesture, Say to yourself, whatever it is I'm holding, may I hold this too with kindness. Whatever it is I'm holding, may I hold this too with kindness. Your hands on yourself signal to your brain and your body that you are safe. Your choice to nurture and not identify with this emotion gifts yourself a sense of spaciousness and ease. In the sky of the mind's eye, perhaps this emotion has shrunk in size. Or maybe it's already gone, passed through, felt, experienced in the present moment, and allowed to move on. Perhaps it's lingering, and you may benefit from starting again at the top by recognizing, allowing, investigating, nurturing, not identifying with. When we are curious and we hold ourselves with self-compassion, we are a good Greek doula, caring and attending to ourselves and our needs. Thank you for taking time to care for yourself, for learning to identify and experience your emotions from a place of kindness and love. I thank you for joining me for this practice of rain, and I look forward to sharing and practice with you again.